All right. Figured I'd talk to everybody about what led to my cab driving. How it all started. Um, I knew I wanted to travel. I always had that wanderlust in me. Ever since I was a little kid, I remember looking out of a friend of mine's window, second floor, and just seeing all these TV antennas sticking off of chimneys, and thought, that's it, I gotta get out of here. And I don't want to go to a single place, I want to travel to a bunch of places and see what it's like. Which I did. I saw America. But I talked about that um, my license and registration, all that. Um, that was all during that time. I was traveling all over the United States, and I wouldn't go and just visit someplace. I'd go there and stay for 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, and then finally, when I ended up in Flagstaff, I stayed there for 20 years. 22 years? Yeah, 22 years. Getting old, I can't remember things. But, yeah, so what I was doing was traveling with restaurants. I got on with Darden Restaurants, which owns Red Lobster and Olive Garden. And the first one that I really stuck with for a while was in Kansas City, Missouri, Red Lobster. And yeah, this place is just rough, right in the middle of the ghetto. And I got to know black people very well, and the subculture of it. And the war between the whites and the blacks, and the blacks and the whites, and knowing in my heart of hearts that I would have to side with the blacks if it came down to it, which I still think it will come down to it. But there's times, we used to peel so much shrimp. Back then they didn't come in cleaned and peeled and all that, shelled. So we had to shell them and peel them and devein them. I mean, hundreds of pounds a day, and do things with them, bread them and put them on skewers and scampies, and just you name it. It was shrimp everywhere. But it was just sucky food, really bad food. Don't eat there. But I invented things that people, general managers, would come around and see what we were doing, because we were putting the product out so much faster. And they would make their suggestions and say what we have to do to keep temperatures, because they were big on temperatures. You got to give them that. They were very big on temperatures, and same with the Olive Garden. Darden was very big on that. They came from General Foods, and temperatures were huge. And believe me, temperatures are huge. If you're eating at a place that doesn't pay attention to temperatures, eat at an Olive Garden or something, you can tell. Most of the time you can tell. So that was the back of the house. And those little cheese breads things, there's a certain way to make it where they're just perfect. And many ways to make them so that they just suck. And it's not a matter of the mixture of the ingredients, it's a matter of how you mix the mixture and how you spoon it out. And it has to be in a consistent way, but they always come out just so tasty when you do it right. Those are also very bad for you. But the front of the house, one time, I switched to the front of the house probably about a year in or something. There's so much more to that story at the back of the house. We used to have shrimp fights, throwing shrimp at each other. And one time I was way on one side of the kitchen, and it was a long kitchen. And there's a guy named Bryant that was the dishwasher. And they used to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk between them. I think I was There's like 3 white people in the kitchen. I was one of them, besides management. Um, but so Brian, he's way on the other side in his dish station, and down the line, this is going by saute, fry, grill, all the way through it. He's talking away to somebody. I threw a shrimp from way over there, hit him right in the cheek. Are you all right, man? I was all worried because I thought I might have got him in the eye. Those tails can be sharp, you know. So, so no, I just hit him in the face. Everybody was just busting up laughing, having a good time. But I mean, you know, there's just so much more. One time I told the general manager that I fucked his mother out in the parking lot because we were shorthanded. Shorthanded in the back, and something fell over, just an act of God kind of thing, and made a big mess. And I went to him, I said, hey man, I don't have time to clean this up. And then he came back there, he goes, thanks Brian, thanks for helping out on that, down the line so everybody could hear it. So I've never been somebody that's good with public humiliation. Or you got something to say to me, especially manager or something, you pull me in the office and say, hey, next time I want you to clean that up. And then I'd be able to say, well, hey man, it was just, I'm slammed back there, I don't have any help, you know, I got a time limit that I got to get this stuff I was prepped. You got to really set your timing for prep, you know. And sometimes, you know, even if you get everything on the list taken care of, there's something that pops up, oh, you got to get 20 more lobster tails, whatever, you know. So yeah, he said that, thanks Brian. Well, shitty. So I said fuck you, and I walked out, and he followed me out in the parking lot, and he's kept like riding my back saying shit to me. And I turned around, I said, fuck you, I fucked your mother. He goes, what did you say to me? I said, I fucked your mother. And I got the day off, so he had to do all of it, I guess. I don't know. But then, you know, we talked about it the next day, and I was like, hey, man, we just need help back there. That's all there is to it. You know, pony up. Get some more help back there. So, yeah, I mean, and it wasn't just the peeling and all that. You had to thaw them out. You had to thaw them out perfectly, otherwise it would ruin the flesh, whatever. And then run them through the splitter. You had to set the splitter just right, and then you had to go through and devein everything. It was just such a pain in the ass. But we got it done. Let you know what you're worth when you're doing that kind of shit. So, we were right in the middle of a ghetto. It's called Bannister Mall. It was just, in the front of the house, there was quita tables, and I never knew what a quita table was in my entire life, and the black people were calling them quita tables, black servers and black, you know, management, everybody was, these are quita tables, and they always wore quita hats, and it was Sunday hats that were just bizarre and off the wall, and they'd treat you like shit. They were black people that would just treat everybody like shit and wouldn't tip you. They were horrible. The servers would look at them, oh, I don't want no quita table. So I'd take them, you know. It was my first front of the house job. And, yeah, so I started working that, and I was working doubles, so I was working lunches and then nights. Mini. I mean, I was just doing that all the time, you know. And, I got to know the black people very well, actually, in that area. One time, there was a server, it was a really nice server. He was a cool guy. I mean, I genuinely liked this guy. We never hung out or anything, but it's fun to work with. He was a cool guy. He was, waiting behind a cook that was clocking out, black guy. And I didn't know him, but I knew everybody else in the back of the house because I worked back there. But this guy was new. So, making me burp. So, he was clocking out and he was checking his hours, I think the story was. And the guy, the server that was cool, he tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey man, you done with that?" The guy says, "Don't you fucking touch me." Turns around and clocks him right in the face. Blood's pouring down, and we're wearing these suits, not suits, but white shirts and ties. And just, I mean, the contrast of the blood on his shirt. But he's just like flabbergasted, and the guy gets all flustered and goes out the back door and sets off the alarm because we couldn't have, the back door couldn't be open without an alarm going off or a key because just all the crap that went on in this place. So he goes around from the back and goes back in the front, comes back into the place and starts beating on the server again. Just for that. "Hey man, you done with that?" Because we had to use the compres for checking out and for ordering food. So that was that incident. Another incident, I had a big table. It was right before close. A couple of adults and like 9 children. I think it was 11 top. Birthday party for one of the kids, and it was right near close, which is super late. I mean, and that was common. That was another thing that they did. The customer base, because that was the customer base. I mean, this is all of all the customer base. They're always black and always doing this kind of crap. But I get the drink order. I go inside. I get all the drinks. I'm carrying them out, and as I'm carrying them out, it turns out these are 2 sisters, like family sisters. And it was a big birthday party. But yeah, one of them's reaching in her purse, and the other one's going, "You wanna fucking shoot me, you fucking bitch, you fucking pull that gun right now." And she's slapping her across the face. So I turned around and just walked back into the kitchen with all the drinks and set it down and told the management, "Hey, I got some problems going on." But, cops got called, whatever. Another time, I was back in the alley doing something, but a server comes back, "Hey, we need you up front. There's some crazy shit going on." So, all right, go up front. And there's this manager, Jamie. Magically remembered her name. Jamie, she was the front of house manager. So, she was talking to a woman that their kids were running around. It's right before close again. Kids were running around and causing problems and making it so the servers couldn't walk and just stumbling and just being, horrible people. The people that were the parents should have been on that. How dare you? How embarrassing for you that your kids act like that in public. That's how I feel about it. But and I see it all the time. Just saw it just the other day, actually. Yeah. But those are the same people that drive like shit. But anyways, so they locked the front doors because it was closed, and 2 of the kids ran outside and couldn't get back in. And then the chick that was talking to my manager was saying, "I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna kill every fucking one of you white motherfuckers." Lock my kid out of the restaurant. "How dare you? Who the fuck do you think you are?" After all these drinks and, hundreds of dollars that they spent on food and shit, and just stormed out. But that was the thing. That was the trick. The more pissed off you got, the less you had to pay. And I had tickets knocked down from $100 down to $20, and then stiff you on the way out. But all this being said, I have to say that was the best money I'd made up until that point in my life. It's a lot of fucking cash. Then I lived there for 2.5 years, I think. Horrible time. Missouri is a horrible, horrible place. But I traveled all over the place. I got here to Flagstaff working in the restaurant industry with Darden. But I went California. Where else did I go? California, Missouri. Is that it? It has to be more with Darden. But there was other restaurants that I worked for too. I just traveled around and I made money doing that. My rent, drinking money. And I was traveling, which was very satisfying. I mean, new cultures, no matter what. Even then living in that ghetto, it was very satisfying for me to learn another culture. Even though I felt, danger. I mean, we had security guards walking us out to our cars at night. Yeah, it was rough. And there's so many more stories to that. Yeah, and it got closed down. The whole mall got closed down after a while. But so like I said, I wanted to travel. I got here to I got to Flagstaff, not here because I'm not in Flagstaff anymore. But I got to Flagstaff and knew that I wanted to stay there. I mean, I didn't leave the city limits for like 3 years, which was way out of the ordinary for me. And then, I got the job driving the cab, and then I went out of the city limits all the time. Yeah. Yeah. Oh well. 17 minutes. Yeah, it's too long. I'll tell you more later.